Hey guys, Pidgey here. In this video we're going to recreate in Figma my design business website. So this is actually a subscription model where we're charging on a monthly recurring basis as well as hourly in some instances. So you're going to learn how to design a website which is actually bringing in a fair amount. Let's get started in Figma, and we're going to, as the very first thing, create a frame which, as you might know, is going to be 1440 pixels. So we're going to select the desktop, and this is going to essentially give us the base for creating the website. Now I'm also going to simply rename the file to web design GD, and I'm simply going to bring the website up just so we can have a look at the very top section, which for the most part it's quite simple. We have a basic logo and a header menu over here with a big headline in order to attract immediately and communicate the concept which needs to be communicated right away, and then some initial images. So we are going to essentially get started by adding a layout grid, since this is going to give us a base for outlining and structuring the website in an organized way. So we're going to go under columns, and I'm going to add 12 columns. And the reason being is that it's a really good amount for creating the desktop foundation. And we're going to give it a little bit of margins on the side, and we're actually going to make this quite, I wouldn't say quite narrow, but I think something around these lines could work quite well. We're also going to make it blue, and we're going to reduce the opacity in order to not have too much visual conflict when we're designing, but still enough to give us a good base and outline for structuring the design correctly. So we're going to go ahead in the previous window, and I'm going to simply copy and paste the logo, since we're just going to pretend that we actually worked on it previously. So I tried to do that. For some reason it's copying the wrong one. If I go ahead, I'm going to basically, for some reason I'll need to basically download the image directly. So have the download folder right here, and I can easily add this, which of course it's going to be an SVG. Now for these type of visuals, you always want to go with the SVG version, because there's not too many colors and visuals going on. If it's an image, of course you can't make it into an SVG, but the benefit of the SVG is that you can literally scale it how much you want, and you won't lose any resolution. We can also keep gradient, which we have over here, and as you can see, I can drag and drop it directly in Figma with no issues whatsoever, no need of conversions. So that's that. Now let's go ahead and let's add our work section. Now the font which I used in my website, it's actually called, I think, Exodus, something around those lines. It is not a free font, so in this instance we're actually going to go with Inter, which is a free Google web font, so that you can follow along with me. So let's go ahead, and we're going to make this medium. I'm going to increase the size just a little bit, and success stories. Actually, I just realized that I had to add 2 C's over there. We're going to add the blog, and then we're going to add the pricing. All right, and then at the very end we're going to have book a call. Now, from a UX perspective, the reason why I added these menu items in the center compared to the right hand side is because I wanted to give extra emphasis to the book a call, so that we are essentially creating these orders of hierarchy in the site. Now, another thing that I need to add is the small arrow. So let me open up Nucleo. I'm going to search for arrow, and this one is gonna be just enough. All right, let's make it maybe just a tiny bit smaller in this instance, and let's make this one gray. All right, so I'm going to resize, or actually redistribute these once again, group them together using Command G, center them up, and we're good to go. Cool. Now at this point, I'm going to create a button around the book call, which is going to be in this color. Let's make this one of this color, and then this one's gonna be 10%. Let's round it up all the way, and yeah, cool. We have the base for the header. Now at this point, what we need is the big header text. So I'm simply going to go over here and going to make it bigger in a moment. Here we go, center it. Let's make it bold, and I'll just like touch vertical height. And at this point, we're going to apply the gradient to this text. And the reason why I added this gradient is to make the affordable rate element stand out. And by the way, I'm constantly trying a new landing pages idea. So even this text was just a recent integration where we're trying to create a different selling point, but all of this is work in progress. So by the time you're looking at the final, it's probably going to be quite quite different, since I won't say that we're changing it weekly, but definitely on a monthly basis we're always A/B testing to find what converts better and what has a better response by the public. Let's go over here. Let's make this one regular. Oops, increase the size just a little bit, not too much. And this works well. Now we're going to make this button into an auto layout using Shift+A. As you can see, I need to decrease the fill. Super easy. Let's bring this one right here. I'm going to change it to get started. Center it, and I'm going to make this one white, and this one to 100%. Cool. Now we have the base for the hero section. Now let's add the images. So I'm going to try again, and yeah, this time it's working. So I simply copied and pasted the image. Going to do that a few more times to take into account the other ones as well. Copy image, paste it in, copy image, paste it in. And the same for the fourth one, which is going to be barely visible, but still enough to kind of have a hint of what's up next. So let's increase the vertical size over here. Let's bring this guy up, and I'm going to duplicate this one more time. And we have the text with the testimonials. Now, testimonials, as you know, super important. So from a logic perspective of what is going on over here, we basically have communication of what is the service right away, what is the USP as well, get started if they want to like get going immediately. Some designs so that they can immediately see the quality and the outcome potential, and then some reassurance of we already had happy clients in the past 10 years, or even that 10 years, so we haven't it's not my first time ride, if you wish. So these are all things that you have to consider, because again, visual design might be important, but the UX, as I always say, it's even more important. So I'm going to add a few of these. So that's that. And of course, we're adding the big guys right away. We're going to have smaller clients, but still want to make the best first impression that we can. And again, ideally, if you can find these logos as SVGs, that's always the best thing. There's actually this plugin in Figma called Vector Logos, and you can go search, for example, Walmart, and can add it here in SVG version. These logos were added quite a bit of time ago, before I realized about the existence of this plugin, so it's actually something in my to-do list to update the logos which aren't SVGs to SVGs. So feel free to do what's the best practice, that is use the vector logos to find these logos. For the sake of practicality now, I'm just copy and pasting these assets, but if there's a better way, you should always strive for it. Now let's go over here. Now I'm going to add two text. First one's going to be the subheader. So let's go over here and going to add the text. Right below, and going to change also this one right here. And now we need to add some paragraph text. Which is going to be this one here. Now I'm going to take a moment to basically describe the UX logic behind it, because essentially the reason why we added this text in this manner is to break up from the central design. So this is all centered, then this is all centered, and I just wanted to break up the layout to make it more visual interest. And I also don't think that this needs to take a lot of space. So this is this horizontal approach is going to mix things up and basically minimize the amount of space that we need to communicate these elements. And instead, what we're going to do is to give more emphasis visually to the different services which we are about to explore right here. So I'm actually going to bring this, let's just reorganize this in a better format. So I'm simply going to make this bigger and see that this one is going to stay over here. probably this. Actually, this one can stay here in the center, because essentially what's going on is I am trying to redesign this with a grid that I just made up. So it's not the original one, of course, but yeah, sometimes you need to kind of come up with solutions on the go, if that makes sense. I'm going to just center these guys up. And now let's start adding the actual text component. So web design, center it up. Going to make this one smaller. Actually, let's center it before. Let's make it smaller. And as you're going to see in the original, I added all these icons, which for the very most part, apart from the Webflow logo, or icons that I found on a kit called Blam. So feel free to check it out. It's Blam with, I believe, free A's. And yeah, it's pretty good, interesting UI kit, or actually icon kit. So that's that. And now let's make this one white, study stroke. And I'm just going to keep it like this for the time being. I think in the original, once you hover over them, you're simply going to, or actually, yeah, the line is like very light. So let's keep something around these lines. Pun intended. Right. I'm going to group these, duplicate it using Command D. And let's change deep text. Right. Let's duplicate it once again. Focus on branding, presentation design, social media, and design systems. All right, now we're simply going to copy and paste. I'm simply going to do this very roughly for now. Copy, okay. We're going to resize these in just a moment. Cool. So let's resize it. I'm just going to eyeball these. Cool. So we have the base going for this as well, and now we need to work on how it works, which again, pretty straightforward. We have this background rectangle, and so we're going to start with that. Just going to fade into a very light gradient, and I'm going to make these columns just a little bit less visible. Interfering quite a bit with the design. Alright, so something around these lines, which fades out. Going to increase the radius just to make it really nice looking. Then I'm going to copy the rectangle, and I'm actually going to go over here. Now, issue is we don't have enough columns to make this perfect. So I'm just going to eyeball it for the time being. Sometimes you need to break the layout, and then when importing it in Webflow, which is the case, I actually can work around these quite easily, since it's not fixed at 12 columns necessarily. So definitely a huge plus not to be restrained in that sense. So I'm going to add a background blur, which is going to be exaggerated at first. I'm going to increase the y-axis. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Decrease the y-axis. Now I'm going to tone it down just a bit. And here we go. Okay. So let's go ahead now to how it works over here. Perfect. Now I'm going to add text. Let's make it up. And I'm bringing these layers up by simply using Option and the Command key plus the up arrow. So send the request. I'm going to copy and paste the style by using Option Command C, Option Command V, and let's duplicate this. I'm going to bring this right here. Oops. All right. At this point, I'm going to make this smaller. Add a rectangle right here. Add it here, and probably going to add a small stroke, a little bit of more vertical space, and here comes the emoji. So I'm simply using Control, Command, and Spacebar in order to find and add an emoji. I'm going to make it bigger. So you don't need the vector emoji really. Just need to get a text layer, and you can add the emoji directly like that. Going to lock this guy right here, because it's probably going to create issues. And let me group this, duplicate it a few times, bring it here, distribute horizontal spacing just to be sure that it was set, but we didn't really need that as well. Receive your designs, and probably going to make both of these guys left aligned. I'm going to copy this one as well. Limited revisions. Again, I'm going to simply copy the emoji as well. All right, so we're at a good point right now. Now what we need to do is to create the bottom section, which is this one right here. Sync workflows to save you time. So this bottom section, pretty straightforward. Have these elements right here, which are basic, then an image and a play button on top of it. So yeah, let's get at it. Going to duplicate this, center it. Okay. to be not underline. Let's use this. Now let's get the button. This one's going to be just a little bit larger, just to kind of mix things up. You don't necessarily need to have each and every button exactly the same. There's no rule regarding this, so feel free to be creative if it makes sense in the context. And then let's add this image, which by the way, this image I actually created separately as an illustration. I should have it, but it's essentially rectangles and text layers. Like, it's nothing too fancy. The icons I got from Nucleo and Noun Project, which is a great place to find the icons as well, especially like more illustrative icons. So yeah, it's a pretty simple element. You just need to basically refine the layout in order to make it communicative and aesthetically pleasing, as always. So let's add over here the play button, since there's a video that people can watch. And for the play button, I wanted to give a little bit of more visual emphasis, so I added a gradient to it, since gradients do take up a bit more of visual emphasis. And yeah, let's use Nucleo. And let's try to play. All right. You just need this guy, which we're going to bring over here. Going to increase the size. And doing good. Let's add some effects. Cool. Just a soft shadow and we are good to go. Now I'm not a fan of these edges, these straight edges. So I'm simply going to add just a little bit of rounded corner to them. And we're good to go. Cool. Now we need to add these two sections right here. It should be pretty self-explanatory. Just talking about the pain points of the clients that are looking for designers, and basically explaining why we're the solution. So marketing 101, really important to always focus on what is the pain point that you're solving in their business. So keep that in mind. All right. Let's change the color. Oops. Probably going to make it, just like that. I'm going to copy these guys right here. Make it a little bit smaller. Right. So this part is pretty self-explanatory. I'll just need to copy the text and the emojis, and as you can see, you can easily copy these emojis directly into the text layer. That's one more reason to use emojis directly, just the ease of just the ease of copying these emojis. Alright, for some reason this had an hyperlink, just going to remove it. Alright, so I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger, and you want to keep in mind to always have established the H1s, H2s, H3s, so on, for SEO purposes but also accessibility purposes. So I'm going to wing it here to a certain degree, but you have to keep these values in mind whenever you're structuring and creating a new design project. So let's go ahead and let's add the other elements, just this one right here. Alright, so we have the pain and solution part done. So this was pretty straightforward. Now we need to head up and create the testimonial, which for the most part we really wanted to make it stand out. So having this big layout showing some stars, which is classic association of positive, and then the testimonial itself, the person who left the testimonial with the link to their LinkedIn for social proof, meaning that it's a real person, it's not just some lorem ipsum, and also the company that they work at with a link to the company. So again, not a lorem ipsum, real company. People can, potential clients can check it out and basically do their due diligence, essentially, if you want to. So I'm going to add this one here on the top. Now we need to add a few stars. So again, Gooder Nucleo. Let's add them here. Command D, Command D, Command D. Let's increase the size. And also, let's use noun project for some quotes. So as you can see, I'm not using Nucleo for these ones because I wanted some more visual ideas, if you wish. And yeah, probably something like this. A noun project has a lot to offer in that sense. I'm going to bring it down to 15%. Make it a little bit bigger, not too much. This smaller. And as you can see, it's very big. So let's make it smaller. Regular. Oops, increase the size. Hopefully not too much. Maybe medium. Cool. Now let's duplicate this. Going to this one black. And let's add the images. This is Joha, great guy. Company had really good success. My buddy Brian, and of course Gracie. All right, now we need to add a ellipse around the selected one. So I'm going to just add a stroke. Let's increase the size just a little bit. Let's bring it over here. Let's make it just a little bit bigger. All right, so this is looking good overall, and I think we just need to center it all. Okay, group this, center it, and yeah, we're good to go. Now we have a few different logos beneath for social proof, so let's do that. And probably going to, I mean, we can simply give it like that. So I'm going to make it smaller. Again, as we discussed at the beginning, if you can make them in SVG, big plus. Cool. So I'm going to copy also the other ones. Oops. Okay, this one clearly is for some reason it's not working. So let's, okay, because it was in SVG. Oops. So it won't copy directly from Safari. Let's add the text below, each and every one. Group them together. Right, so we're at a good point. I want these titles to be bigger. I'm gonna make them to just like the other one, 44. Cool. Probably also this one. Sometimes you need to just go back and revisit the design, and patterns are going to become more and more apparent. Cool. Let's add the recent projects, recent designs. Let's see how we are. Cool. Still recording, hopefully. And I'm going to add over here. Woo, this one is ginormous. Set this guy as well. Cool. Let's round up these elements just a bit. And I realized there's quite a bit more to the page. So what I'm gonna do is I'm simply going to get the most part of it, but I'm probably going to break it down into two different series because it's just like so much at this point. It's gonna become like 3 hours of tutorial, which if you're interested in, let me know for sure. I'm going to create this section right here. I'm going to duplicate this text, bring it here, going to change it up. And I'm going to add this text, which of course is not isn't in the good size, so I'm going to copy and paste using Option Command C and then Option Command V over here. And this section again is just to show some visual element, but one thing that I noticed is that all of these elements are outside of the desktop, so I'm simply going to group them and bring them inside. So this is something that happens with Figma from time to time, so just keep an eye on these type of things. And I'm going to go ahead and add the social design elements below, which are YouTube, Instagram, not Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter. Let's add this stroke. Let's make it quite light. Good old Nucleo. And I'm going to write in YouTube. And I can find anything over here. So I'm gonna head up to Noun project, which again, as I mentioned, it's my second favorite place to find icons, and I'm simply going to add the other ones as well. LinkedIn. Okay, I can't find the one which I need. Let's find Twitter. Twitter we did find. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go under vector logos, search for LinkedIn. I'm going to add this here. Cool, big. And let's bring it inside. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to duplicate this a few times. Bring this one here. Change the color. Awesome. That's part of things that happen when you do things live. Never happened to me before though, so that was interesting. Alright, we can also make a version which is with the hover effect, so that the developer can see how that works, which is always appreciated. By the way, always keep in mind UX states such as hover, active states, empty states. There is an acronym in UX which is CRUD. Let me check out. I can't remember exactly the what each and every letter stands for. Okay, create, read, update, delete, or destroy. So this is something that you definitely want to keep in mind. So search for CRUD whenever you're working on a UX project, especially, but it applies also in web design, of course. So yeah, that's that. Now let's go ahead, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to create these further testimonial sections, which again, testimonials, social proof, so it's always good to have these in abundance. And I'm going to go over here, steal the stars if you wish, that we already created, bring them here. Going to add the text here on the left. And for some reason I can't copy the text directly. Cool, I need to just update this. We're going to add some placeholder elements right here. I'm actually going to copy one of these to set the style, and top of that let's add the name, this is going to be name and surname of the individual, CEO at the company, so we're simply going to keep these lightweight with placeholders, because it's going to take I can't copy them directly from the original web design. And let's add a gradient behind it so that they stand out a little bit more, and it's probably going to be, so you can actually even keep something around these lines, or even like this, but what I want to do is to basically give it a gradient that starts from the bottom and then goes all the way up, so that we have this nice visual, oops, water fell, and of this element right here. So I'm probably going to keep the next part for another video, because we're going we've been going for quite some time, but we managed to cover a very large amount, the vast majority of the website. So congrats for following along for all of this time. And I myself, I'm a designer with over 10 years of experience, sharing my knowledge here for free on YouTube. So feel free to check out my other videos on both UI, UX, web design, and also softwares like Figma and Webflow. and I'll see you in the very next video.